David asked if I could make a video showing what I did to touch up his subject's clothes here. This is really quite a nice, nicely posed portrait. You can see though, if we divide it down the center, that she's looking, her face is really quite far to the right here on the right half. She got a lot of extra space up here. Overall, her face in the frame is low and to the right, and she's looking that way. So if we were to divide it, we don't want her looking out of the frame. So what I first did was I recropped it, and just bringing her more up into the upper left area here. And oh, that feels pretty good. We'll do an image crop, and you could do a real slight color adjustment, image adjust, color balance. You could use a little less yellow, so make her a touch bluer and just a touch redder. And then the main thing he was concerned with was what I did to her top here. So let's see if we can get into that. Keep the video a little bit smaller by cutting right to the chase here. We can see there's some problem here, and what I'm going to do is just take the line of the top here, and I'll even make it a little bit off to make it more realistic. See how I left a little bump there? And then using the clone tool, I'll just pick up some of the background here and bring it down, and look how quick that can be fixed. Now, because I didn't feather the edge, it's a little bit sharp, so what I'll do is I'll take the blur tool, and let me put the tools in here too so you can see what I'm selecting. And I'll just blur the edge a little bit, so it just adds a little more realism. And you can see why I left a little bump here, because a little bump just makes it look more like it's a top here rather than just merging right to the line of her shoulder, or her neckline there. So that side's fixed already. Look how quick that is. Move her over a little bit, and we can see there's a problem up here too. This one's a little trickier. To do it right, to do this right, we should really cut it and lay it down, but I was doing it real quick for Portranet, so let's do a quick version. And it also bumps up there, so let's take it down. So we're going to go like that. Use the clone, make a brush that won't pick up her hair here. And just that quick and easy, you can fix that other side. You can see there's a little problem there, so we can make a real tiny clone tool and just kind of, there we go. And then again, we've got a sharp edge here because we didn't feather it. So I'm just using the blur tool here and blurring that a little bit. Now that area is fixed. Now the big problem is down here, and that gets a little tricky. What I'm going to do is construct a new line for her neckline here, something like that. And if we want to, we can either do select feather and feather it with just one pixel just to soften it a little bit. And I'll just pick up some of her skin here from above. I'm sampling here and just coming down. See the X is the sampled place. That way I'm not sampling here and doing light color here. See how that ruins it? We want to sample upstream and just drag that down. So that's all set. Now I want to select the other side. I can reselect it if I want, or if I want to do it quick and dirty, I'll just say inverse. And now everything else is selected except for this circular area. And I think I just used the airbrush last time, but to make it simple, you could just do the same thing. You can just sample downstream and push up. But that's really not going to take care of that ripple, but you'll see it is better. To actually get rid of that ripple, what I did was I took the airbrush here and I took it in normal mode, fairly transparent, and I just sampled an area next to it. I sample here, I'm sampling this color and I'm just airbrushing it in. And because it's set so transparent, the opacity is turned way down. I can just kind of feather it in. Now we've got a seam down here. See this little seam? This is where stuff gets a little bit hairy, and it's tough to get in there and airbrush because you're going to lose that seam. I'm not real sure what I'll do there. I think I'll pick up some of the curve here, find out where it's going to go and just try to bring that seam over. And I'm using the clone tool here. I'm just kind of playing around. It's actually was 100%, which is too much. And that way I can feather it a little more. And then if I add a little vignette, it covers the problem down here where if I use a little vignette, it covers the problem where I've erased the seam. So we can get rid of that. And shrink her down. It's almost there. Her neck could use a little retouching as well, so we'll turn this way down and just soften that line. Whoops, I went too far. Soften that a little bit. We can use the dodge tool and just so that it's not so dramatic down there. Just lighten that area a little bit. You still have a wrinkle here, but that should have been fixed when it was shot. What would I do to fix that? Let's see if we can get away with it. That's a real tough one. I probably wouldn't mess with it. I would have fixed it when I shot it, but let's see what we can do. Because we've got a pattern there too, it's an extra big problem. If you feather too much, you won't get your pattern in there. Not too bad, but not really good either. And what we could do then is take a burn tool, but I don't want to change the color too much. And just burn it down a little. We could even take, let's do the airbrush again, pick this darker color, and quite transparent, quite large. I'll just kind of feather that down a little bit. Just to take your eye off from it. If it's too bright, it'll make you look down there. And we didn't do too bad on that. You can soften this down in here again. Whoops, let's undo that. We had too much, too opaque. And I need a little bigger brush to get up in there and just kind of soften this transition up here. What's really cool is the healing tool actually copies texture. So if we wanted to, we can come up here and we can cut ourselves a new line again for her neckline. And I don't know if I would do this here, but I'm just going to show you that it's a cool little trick. Using the healing brush here, we can grab the texture. See the texture, the lines? And we can actually put that texture in over here. And in this case, this is a very small image and it's not really working, but you can see the idea of it. And I do this a lot on people's faces and stuff. You can also create a layer and do this to one layer, and then on the other layer don't do it, and set the transparency to about 50%, and it softens the effect. And let's actually get rid of that. That isn't too bad there. We could even grab some texture from over here. See, I'm sampling here. Oops, we don't want to grab her neck though. I'm going to undo. Don't worry about undoing, it's fine. You know, you never know till you try it, so try it. And if you don't like it, hit the Control Z. And go back to clone. Kind of fix what I've messed up here. And like I said, a vignette will hide a lot of sins, so just kind of make it so that the tonality is quite nice, and then get in there and vignette it and cover up all the work. Let's grab it here. And I would have left those last wrinkles in there to leave a little realism. It's almost getting so perfect that I don't know if it looks real anymore. And I kind of overdid up here on her neck. Let's bring this back down. It's too soft of an edge. There we go. Alright, let's bring her down to normal size, and you can see she doesn't look too bad. And the real trick here is to vignette it. We want a big, decent sized brush. We might pick this darkest pink first, because you don't want to throw black in over the top of a pink top. And I just vignetted a little bit with that first. Now we'll go in with the darker, and you can see what I mean. I don't like it down here. Let's undo that. See her lower part of her shoulder, the pink goes to a dingy gray. Let's try just the burn. That works better. Burn a little bit up around the top. And then her face, or her hair rather, was a little dark, so just dodge that a teeny bit. And that's pretty much it. I'm still not totally nuts about this area being lighter than her shoulder. So I might come in and grab that and just soften this. Oops, too much again. Turn that way down. And just feather some of that up there. Again, it's always easier to work on the original image. These tiny ones from Portranet are really tough to work on. She got a little bump there that bugs me too, this little lump here. See if we can get rid of that. That's better. Just so it doesn't draw her eye there so much. Just shrink her down. Much better. And also, this shadow area in here is a little bit strong, so what I did was I sampled here, picking up the lighter area of the cheek, and I push it up into this. I'll sample this little darker area and I'll push it up into the nose so that we don't see such a lumpy, bumpy transition there. Even up in here I might pull a little bit of that and come down here into her eye area. It softens that shadow. We can do the same here. Just ease that transition. Just soften under those eyes just a touch. And then of course we can do the usual to the eyes. I don't want to make this into a big huge video, but we can dodge those eyes and sharpen them up just a little too. And that's pretty much how I fix the top. You just kind of load it up and select areas and play around with it. Hope that helps.